where does it all shake out going into next year? Who knows, man? This business, you can never be so sure, right? Like, you're going to have to evaluate Jonathan Kuminga, right? Like, we all know his talent. We all know what we all believe he could be. But now you have to make a huge financial commitment. Like, it won't be JK at whatever his number is now. Like, it's a huge financial, so that has to look different for everybody, right? That has to look different for JK. First and foremost, he's the athlete, right? Like, he's the one that got to do the work. He's the one that got to sign the contract. So it has to look different for him first and foremost, right? From an organizational standpoint. All of that stuff has to come together, and I love JK's answer in this press conference. He said, listen, we all got to sit down, we got to figure it out. It's going to take a while to figure it out. Free agency does take a while. It's going to take a while to figure this out. He said, but I appreciate Coach Kirk because he's helped me get here where I am at. And man, that was such a responsible, great, well-thought answer. Because it's true.
Professional answer.
Because it's true. Like, has it always gone the way you want it to go? No. But that's probably with 99% of basketball players in the NBA. If you talk to a guy, most guys are going to tell you, I could do more of this. They don't let me. Like, that's just the nature of what we do, right? So we all have our trials and tribulations, our peaks and our valleys, right? His valley was more on Front Street for everybody. Yes, but we all have our peaks and our valleys. And the reality is what he said is correct. I love the way he handled it. One thing's for certain. I said this in my ex interview. Whether it's here or somewhere else, he gonna get paid and he gonna have a very bright future. So I don't think he has anything to worry about. Everybody know what he's capable of. He will get paid here or he will get paid somewhere else. That's it, and that's all. And so I think the future for him is as bright as it's ever been.
Earlier this season, you talked about guaranteeing the championship. You know, you guys, I believe, and I'm not making excuses, I think, you know, with Steph, you had a good chance. So, you know, you put yourself in an elite category. Earlier this season as well, Steph mentioned about the last ride, right? And then he recently mentioned that he wants the ride to last as long as possible, right? So now with Jimmy, right, now headed into the offseason, are you back in this championship pedigree or championship guarantee pedigree? Because it wasn't Cat, right? No, that was speaking from what you guys felt. And earlier in the season, it was more so, we just want to have an opportunity. And then now, it's different, right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely different. I think, you know, our mindset going into next year will be that. Going into every year, I think every team say, yo, we want to compete for a championship, and you know when that shit real and when it's not.
Yeah, for real.
And the reality is, for most people, it's very fake
it's
and
not
not real,
dude. Yeah, people are not really.
I personally believe wholeheartedly, and we all do, that we will be right there next year, giving ourselves a shot at it, just like we was giving ourselves a shot at it. We gave ourselves a shot at it this year. And I think we will retool and make the roster make even more sense and come back. And also, I think another thing that I'm looking forward to is we get to play a whole year. So we come out, we can take care of business, and we ain't got to play catch up all year. You know, like we've been in the playoffs since February. Like, every game mattering, intensity level. Like, we've been in the playoffs since February just to get to the moment. And so I think for us now, being able to go through a full season, and obviously you need to stay healthy and all of those things, like, we can put ourselves in better position to be successful. And I think, you know, that'll be big for us. But the goals will be the goals, which is coming out, competing, trying to win a championship. That will be our goal 1,000%. I do believe we are capable of that. I stand on that 100%. So, you know, Jimmy, Steph, myself, we'll all be in the weeds, you know, trying to make it all make sense, for what we believe we need, what it needs to look like. We'll be in the weeds, so right back at it.
Man, and if y'all want to include me, I'm up, for assistant to the assistant GM. And if I were to put my GM hat on, just saying what y'all need, I would say you just need dynamic athleticism and you need somebody with some game. You need somebody that's, you need that wild card scorer, that threat, that whether he's 6'8" and get to the hole, just somebody who's just a scoring machine. To the basket, catch three, just somebody who just, hey man, if this dude get hot, we definitely win it, right? And then I would say dynamic athleticism, right? 6'10" versatility, 7-foot shot blocker that can run to the rim and dunk. Just a few little pieces like that, because when you think about now, the way the league is transitioning is getting back to the bigs, is getting back to the dominant power forwards, is getting back to second chance shots are the shots that are going to beat you. So long threes, a lot of threes, long rebounds, but second chance points, rebounds, that's always going to be the deciding factor. And I just think for the Warriors, a little small, a little slow, right? But elite talent. And if you can mix some of that with, some hyperactivity and some strong athleticism, and people that can get to the rim, y'all be unstoppable. You talked about getting in the weeds, right? You, Steph and Jimmy getting in the weeds. You don't do that, usually, or ever, outside of the KD. You got in the weeds, got KD. So when you say I'm getting in the weeds,
yeah, you just got to be involved.
Somebody ears.
You got to be involved. You got to have. You just got to have the conversations, man. You got to, because at the end of the day, when you're trying to compete for a championship, the front office may think they need to bring in a guy that like, I play against this guy. Like, he ain't it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's when I say, like, you got to get in the weeds. Like, there's just some, because, again, like I said, I think, we filled out the roster at the top. And so with that being one of the toughest things, like, now you need guys, like, man, when we play against this guy, I love when that team bring that guy on the court. And now we gonna go sign him, like, nah, you don't want that guy, And so when I say get in the weeds, like, that's what I mean. Like, you gotta give some input at times, because what can be seen from the stands or what can be seen from some numbers, it ain't always what it seems when you're trying to compete for a championship.
And sometimes the dude that ain't, that plays great against you, and, maybe the dude y'all looking for is sitting on somebody bench that's super talented and playing behind one of these one or two scorers. The league is full of scorers, and the league is full of versatile scorers. And I think the ability to bring someone into the game that can get their own money and get money for other people, just by default, right, is going to be a game changer for you guys, because you already have highly talented, skilled guys that can catch and shoot, penetrate and shoot. Y'all learning how to make plays for each other, but you meet that one dude that's like, man, if he pump fake and get to the middle of the paint, he gonna try and dunk or finish or do something different, right? You need kind of like a counter, so the attack is not the same diet every time. And that's where I'm thinking, like, someone 6'8", 6'9", that can really get out here and put some points on the board. And that's all.
Who's a comp of somebody? Because to me, it sounds like you're explaining like a superstar. So who is a comp of someone you're speaking of?
Like, if I were to comp, like, on the guard side, I'd say like someone like a Lou Will. Like a Lou Williams, like somebody who is just dynamic at getting their own money, give them the ball, get out the way. If he cooks, we win every time, because he know how to hoop. And then I say on the other side, like, who is the next Pascal Siakam, or who is the next kind of.
Pascal Siakam make $45 million.
No. I'm saying that there's a young dude that plays like that on one of these teams, right? Some of these young dudes on Portland, right? Charlotte got a couple, young dudes that I'd say on the guard side, like Trey Mann, if y'all got him from Charlotte, that's somebody like that from the guard perspective. On the big guy side, even a Sims or Mitchell Robinson, somebody that's just got the dude the Lakers didn't want, the Charlotte kid, like
Mark Williams.
Somebody big. Just you need a big athletic person that can come in and play a lot of junk minutes, right, and a lot of glue minutes, because they'll be able to get it done. They have a big game, 18 rebounds, 14 rebounds. Then it kind of take a lot of pressure off of the impact that you're going to have on your body next year. So I would bring in a bunch of young athletic dudes on top of the young dudes I got, but just kind of like dynamic talent that can just be the force y'all need to get through the season so you're not banged up by the playoffs.
No doubt.
And then in the Warriors, they held their exit interviews, plenty of questions surrounding their future.
When we had our mind focused on a goal, like we had enough to accomplish it and get to a point where, we were playing pretty high level basketball. Does that mean we can win a championship? We hope so. And that's really all you want is a fighter's chance. If you can run that back, make some tweaks that can help our overall, roster. I feel like we had enough that we showed, we could be that team. That's all you really want.
So, Bob, there are over 8 billion people on this planet, and I think that it would be hard to find someone better to answer this question than you. What's next for the Golden State Warriors after all of that?
Well, he's the best one to answer it, the guy that just answered.
Okay, so you're 2.
Okay, well, in the top 5 maybe. But he said it, Malika. Fast rewind 3 months ago. This was a team that was 500 or below, right? Going nowhere, talking about making the play-in. They make a trade, Mike Dunleavy makes a trade for Jimmy Butler, and they go on a tear, right? They went on a tear. He was the salve they needed, and especially for Curry. Steph's numbers weren't as good. When they got Jimmy Butler, he took off too. Steph has said it, he just said, I want a fighter's chance, right? I want to play in meaningful games. But for the hamstring injury, he was doing that, right? They beat the Rockets. The Rockets were a very good team. They finished the season strong. They had a chance to be, at one point, a 5 seed, a 4 seed. They ended up where they ended up, which was the 7 seed. But Steph is 37. He has accomplished probably more than he ever dreamed. He's going to go down as a top 10 player ever to play the game. He changed the game.
Top 5.
Top 5. So if you're him, you're saying, Malika, give me a chance to be competitive, right? Let me have a shot. He said it, fighter's chance, his words. They had a fighter's chance against Minnesota. They beat the Rockets. Would they have had a fighter's chance against Oklahoma City or Denver? Yeah, I think they would have if he'd stayed healthy. At this point in his career, I don't think he's saying, I have to have a top 2 roster in the league. I have to be the favorite. He's not. He's been there. He's had that. You can't have that for 15 years of your career. He's just saying, Malika, give me enough around me that I can play meaningful basketball. I believe the Warriors did that and got to do that. I feel awful for him because he was playing great, and I think it would have been a much different series. Who knows who would have won? I'm proud of what the Warriors said after. They weren't saying, well, we would have won without Steph. They said, look, credit to Minnesota. But I do think that, will they try to improve? Sure, they'll try. How do they improve? We could talk for an hour about the rules, about the money they have, about the options they have, but I think Steph got what he wanted, which was a shot.
Well, I'm going to tell you what is dead for them, dead bird, tall grass. That small ball lineup with Draymond Green at the 5, that's over with. They need a big man. They need a big man. Draymond got exposed, especially without Steph being on the floor. I don't care if he goes out there and get 15 or 20 points. Steve Kerr called him the best defender that he's ever seen, right? And I believe he lied because he played with Dennis Rodman and he played with Tim Duncan, right? And Julius Randle shot over 50% when Draymond was guarding him. That's a problem. You need a big man in there that's going to get you a double-double every single night. Look across the league. Look at the teams that we still have playing right now. Indiana, they have Miles Turner. Karl Anthony Towns for the New York Knicks. You got Jokic for Denver. You have Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein for Oklahoma City. You need a lob threat. You need a guy who's going to get you about 15 points and 12 rebounds a game and be able to anchor their defense. They need athleticism. That small ball lineup is dead. No offense to Draymond Green. It's just past his time when it comes to anchoring the defense.
Stephen A. was shaking his head while Bob was talking.
Y'all are absolutely right.
Okay.
But I don't want to hear that.
Okay.
That's not the story today. I'm serious, Bob. No. Stop. Let me tell you why. Jimmy Butler. We got love for Jimmy Buckets. We know who he is. We needed him to get one game. One game. That's the story moving forward. Because when he was acquired, he wasn't just acquired in a trade and, okay, you're under contract and, okay, now you're a member of the Warriors. No. He was given a 2-year deal for over $113 million. And when Steph Curry went down early in game 2, they said, we need one game. One. He's probably going to be back for game 6. And I'm gonna pull a first take one here and tell the producers, I need to see myself on the screen talking to Perk and Bob Myers right now. I need to look at y'all right now, okay? They said one game. Now, I'm going to ask you right here in front of Malika, because I know she keeps you honest, because she keeps us all honest. You're an executive, Bob. One game. One. I need one game from a dude that I gave. We all believe we've seen him do it. He took a team to the finals twice. We need one game just to get Steph Curry back. And he couldn't do it. And he attempted 11 shots last night and 9 shots the game before that. He had 20 shot attempts in 2 games. 20 shots in 2 games. Yeah. And you were the number 1 option. Come on now.
Okay.
We got it. Come on now.
Listen, the game was game 3. That was the one
that was the game.
He didn't get it done. Look, but I will tell you, Stephen A., we can criticize Jimmy Butler, and it's fair. But I would go into any battle with that guy. I mean, I believe he's a winner.
So would I.
And I agree. But to your point, if he needed to get one game, I think game 3 was the game. He couldn't do it by himself. And look, he didn't make an excuse, but you better believe that pelvic injury, that doesn't just go away in 3 days.
Okay.
That would be
The Golden State Warriors aren't done. At least, not if you ask the people who still run practices and call plays. Stephen Curry is still performing at an elite level. Jimmy Butler has joined the roster. And Draymond Green is confident the group has one more run left. However, for the first time in years, the franchise isn't sure which direction to lean. Between aging stars, young talent in limbo, and financial constraints tightening every move, this offseason feels less like a tune-up and more like a fork in the road. Outwardly, the mood is different, though. The Warriors are old and expensive, but they're no longer feared. The spacing isn't the same, and the defensive rotations aren't as sharp. Most importantly, the rest of the Western Conference is younger, longer, and deeper. So there's a visible gap between what the front office knows and what the locker room feels. On paper, they're a tier below contenders. Internally, they think chemistry and one offseason can flip the script. What both sides agree on is, there's no time to figure it out over months. Next season has to be the answer, not another experiment. Jonathan Kuminga was meant to be the next name on the jersey banners. He has the frame, the athleticism, and the scoring instincts. But development hasn't been linear, and patience isn't endless. He's now a restricted free agent. The Warriors can match any offer, but that's not the issue. It's about whether they should and whether they even have room to. The coaching staff hasn't hidden its hesitation. There's uncertainty about whether Kuminga fits next to Curry, Butler, and Green in high-leverage minutes. He's improved, but hasn't proven consistent in playoff-style possessions. Draymond disagrees, though. He's said repeatedly that the team never gave Kuminga a genuine chance in the core rotation. In his view, they didn't test the lineup before doubting it. Financially, keeping Kuminga comes at a price. Curry, Butler, and Green are set to earn over $130 million next year. Add Kuminga on a new deal, and flexibility leaves the room. Are the Warriors willing to pay for potential they're not ready to use? Some believe this is Golden State's last shot with Curry as the engine. Others think the run ended 2 years ago. The franchise hasn't said either way, but their actions matter. Trading for Butler signaled urgency, and letting Klay Thompson walk confirmed it. Still, there's no clarity on direction. Is this a retool for one more title? Or is it a soft change while Curry still puts up all-star numbers? Theoretically, Butler adds edge, toughness, and postseason experience. But he also adds wear and mileage. He missed 19 games last season while Curry missed 11. Also, Draymond was suspended. At full strength, this group can still run plays most teams can't defend. But full strength is the exception now, not the norm. Analysts say, the Warriors can't go into next year with hope alone. They need bodies who fit. Moreover, they need to find them without blowing up their budget. One name they're watching closely is Kristaps Porzingis. There's early noise about a deal with Boston involving Moses Moody and Buddy Hield. Porzingis would bring shooting and length, but his injury history makes the deal risky, and his $30 million salary eats cap quickly. Another idea, though more wish than plan, is Giannis Antetokounmpo. The door isn't wide open, but it's cracked. If Milwaukee wavers and Golden State packages Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, and picks, it might start a conversation. Then there's Derek White. He fits their two-way system and knows the coaching staff well. The problem is his contract, 4 years and a whopping $118 million. Needless to say, adding him would require major cap gymnastics. Beyond trades, the Warriors are capped out. They've got $170.5 million already committed. That means minimums, exceptions, or offloading someone unexpected. They need wings who can defend, a backup big who can protect the rim, and a bench that doesn't collapse when Curry sits. This team is out of room for mistakes, late chemistry, and cold starts. The dynasty is already written in stone, but the ending is still unwritten. If Golden State wants to finish the Curry era with dignity, they need to move right now, predict analysts. The Warriors always said culture wins. That belief still lives in the locker room. Will this belief be enough to get the team back on track? Drop your thoughts in comments and don't forget to hit the subscribe icon if you haven't already.